Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
I'm Carolina Warner, and I am a fiber artist, and I am part of a 6-member group that does fiber arts. We do all kinds of things, from designing the cloth itself to doing some quilting or doing things like embellishment, adding beads. I started quilting for nieces and nephews for quilts. When I moved to Brainerd, I did an art quilt and showed it at Quilt Club and was told there's a fiber arts group and you should belong to it. So I started then, and I learned how to dye as a result of being in the group. I've played with bleach discharge. I've done deconstructive screen printing. Just if there's something out there we can try, we experiment. And this means that there is cloth that hasn't made it into a piece of art yet because it doesn't have a purpose, but it will happen. We are blessed to be in an arts community, and the Crossings Arts Alliance has sponsored this event, as well as the legacy funds that the voters of Minnesota have provided to support the arts. So this is the immediate group of 6 people, and we've done this exhibit and called it Conversations with Cloth, mainly because we go through a number of steps with the fabric and design walls. So in my apartment, I have a big wall that is just a light colored sheet on it, but we stand back from the wall and look at the cloth that we have made and let it talk to us and tell us where to go next. So in this case, I had done the bleached fabric a long time ago, and I knew that I wanted to do rocks, and I had made the shadows. But since this time, this has been sitting in my stash, I've learned about the flower paste resist, and I've learned to dye. And so the piece could come together. The show has been good for helping us finish art or make new art. It's exciting to see people go, oh, this isn't quilting, this is art.
Now, one of the techniques that was used upstairs was paper lamination. I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit with my silk screen and start a paper lamination. This is just one way you can use the silk screen. I've got a very sheer fabric. If you saw the birch trees upstairs, they were done with a fabric like this. And then you need some photographs or some paper with a design on it. Newspaper, if I wanted a face on it, I could use this from the newspaper. I saw a pretty sunset, so I've got some colors of newspaper. You don't want a photograph that's a glossy photograph on good quality photo paper, because what you want to do at the end of this process is wash the paper away. And if you have a good photo paper, it's going to be thick and heavy, and it's going to be terrible to get off. So I'm going to take some of these, and I'm just going to lay them out on my board here and create a collage. So I'm going to tear some of these up and just arrange them rather loosely. So I need to pin my sheer fabric down so that the paper stays in place. Now what I want to have happen is for this paper to stick to the fabric so that this image will be transferred to my fabric. Now if I wanted the whole image here, I could take this, put it on top of it, and what I would use would be matte medium. And I could spread that across, but I'm going to try to break up the image a little bit. Easy way to do that is with masking tape or builder's tape. And I'm just going to stick this on the back of my frame, just like that. And I don't want straight edges, so I'm trying to do all torn edges that are going to be exposed. So this is going to be kind of like paint being stripped or peeled off of a building when I'm done. At least that's kind of the image I have in my head. And just kind of tearing irregular edges so that I don't end up with a big square that you can see that's real obvious. Okay, so I've got a design marked off with masking tape. Very simple. This isn't going to make a permanent screen. It's not going to ruin my screen, but it's ready to go. So I'm ready to put the matte medium on my piece. I think I'll go that way with my lines. This is Golden Matte Medium. Liquitex is another good brand to use. You can also use a gloss medium. It's going to give a slightly different effect. So I'm just going to pour some in here. I don't want to tip it up too much because it'll go all over the place, but you can see that there is a little bit in there. I'm going to put my frame down. It's a little hard to see because it's white and it doesn't show up very much and it dries clear. Now this matte medium, when it dries, will be permanent. So I want to make sure I get my screen cleaned very quickly here. What I'm going to do is let this dry. After it dries, I'm going to iron it to heat set it. And then I'm going to dump it in a bucket of water. But if I don't heat set it first, all this matte medium is going to wash out. And it's not really going to stick to my fabric. So the heat setting is a very, very important step. Now when I iron this, I'm going to cover it with an applique press sheet. This distributes the heat a little bit better, so I'm less likely to ruin my fabric. Since it is polyester, I could melt it. Okay, so you can see that my paper is stuck to the front here. Some of the pieces are loose in the back. So this is the fun part. A little scary. And I've got a bucket of water, so I'm going to let it soak for a little while. You can see how the paper has gotten loose. So this is how the birch trees were done. I had white paper underneath that I had painted some black lines on. Then I laid masking tape onto my the sheer fabric that I had over the black and white paper. I laid the masking tape down in long strips because I didn't have a screen that was that big. And then I screened the matte medium over the masking tape, and wherever the masking tape was not, you got a birch tree.
I've been a traditional quilter for many years, since I was in high school. And about 5 years ago, I guess, I met the girls that are prominent in this group, and they invited me to join them. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure I can do any of this because I'm so traditional. But they taught me a lot of things, and pretty soon I'm moving out of tradition and into the art side of quilting. And loving it. Have discovered so many things. It's so much fun. It's just so liberating. One of the things about traditional quilting is there are a lot of rules, and everything in traditional quilting is based on perfection. The more beautiful, the more perfect the quilting is. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful, and it's the perfect thing for so many people. And I admire the quilts so much in the traditional world. But once you make that leap into the art world, you can forget all those rules. And you can just have fun and just go with it and do things crooked. You know, it doesn't matter anymore. And it's kind of liberating and fun.
I just think it's really great that we have an exhibit like this so we can show people that it's not, quilting isn't like grandmother's quilting. We're kind of taking it to a new level. It's fiber art, it's fabric, it's paper, it's combining things, and it's an art form. It's not something you're gonna worry about washing or putting on the bed or something like that. So it's fun. It's not. Some people may think, oh, what's the purpose of this? Well, it's just like painting and sculpture. It's something that's in you that you want to get out because it's art.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.